Hey, okay, here we are. We're going to start modeling out ahead, and I am going to file, and I'm going to start a new project, brand new from scratch. There we go. And I'm just going to select the cube. It's a cube or box. It's a mesh, and it's a cube. So in the cube, we're going to go ahead and use that. So we don't need to delete it. And we're going to select the cube. And we're going to click up here. And we're going to get in the front view. Let's see. Okay, there we go. The green one is the front. And when you see the minus Y, you know you're in front view. And now we have a grid right behind us. So we're going to select the cube. And we're going to add a modifier. So you can see I've clicked over here in this right menu. This is the properties. You can look here. We are in the editor type. They're all editors. And we are in the properties. So this is where our functions and all of our functions are going to be over here in this window to this box. So what we want to do for right now is click on the little wrench so we can see, and we're going to add a modifier. And what we do is we go add modifier, and then we go generate, and then we're going to add a subdivision surface. And the keyboard shortcut is very fast. And that is going to be one that I do use. And it's going to be just hitting Control 2 on the keyboard. And you can see we got the modifier that we want. This is a subdivision modifier. And it's going to subdivide our polygon faces. And I'm using a scroll wheel and my mouse. So if we look over here in the subdivision box, we have levels of viewport that are going to subdivide the polygons there. So I'm going to go to back to 2, and I'm going to show you that if you get a subdivision, a modifier on your object, and you're in edit mode, so instead of object mode, we go to edit mode. You're going to see that you've got this orange box on it. And that kind of helps you, if you're new, really new, that you're in edit mode. And you can hit the tab key. But get to know your menu right here, the different edit modes up here. Object mode and edit mode. So what I wanted to say was, in the subdivision box, if you click this little triangle right here that's gray, it's gonna kind of give you a little more room. It's like when we have it selected in here, we hit A to select all, and you can turn it on and off, and you can see what it does. You can play with it. But our vertex points are going to be way up here. So I selected the vertex, and then we'll be able to move that like so. I'm going to undo that. So we're basically going to apply this subdivision. Now I'm in edit mode, and I go click to apply it, but my apply button is grayed out, and it's disabled because you have to be in object mode to add your subdivision modifiers to apply them. So let's go back to object mode, and you can click up here, go back to object mode, or you can hit the tab key. to go back and forth. But you have to hold your cursor over the 3D viewport. This is the 3D viewport editor window. And if your mouse is way over here in this window and you're hitting tab, nothing is going to happen. So as soon as you move your mouse back, voila, it's working. And that drives me crazy sometimes. I'm like, what's going on? I'm maybe resting my arm or my hand way over here. So make sure that you move your mouse over to the right editor window. So we are going to move back over here and make sure we're in object mode, and we're going to apply this subdivision modifier. Apply. So the modifiers are here in this little, where this little blue wrench is at. And now it's added. And we have added it to our little 3D ball. And we are going to model a head from this little guy. It's going to be so cute. Okay, one of the first things I do is because I love colors and I go crazy in here. When I come in here, the colors cheer me up. So get up here to your menu in object mode and come over here to the top part. And if you hold your mouse up here over, let's see, it's not working. You can scroll if you can't see your window. You can hold your cursor and use your scroll wheel, and it'll move your little top menu above your viewport. We are in the 3D viewport with our object. And you'll see the name of it over here to the right. It's a cube in this window, which is the outliner. So if you click these little buttons on the left, and you'll see the highlighted blue over here, you'll go, oh, that's where I'm at. So you get to know your windows. And the same with this window. You're in the 3D viewport. And over here, and then down here, you're in the properties editor window. So there's our cube right here. And Blender has already added a camera and a light for us. So this is our cube that we added. If we turn it off at the little eyeball, we'll see that that's our cube. So if we want to name it something, we just double click on it, and then we can. And I'm just going to name it Head Cube. It's going to be our head. Okay, so now I'm going to turn some light on in here. Some colors. We are in the solid mode. And this is the render mode. Viewport shading. That's what these are. So the viewport shading is going to shade different. And this is our transparent. So we're going to be using this a lot. But in the viewport, there's this little tiny drop down arrow. And so I like to set up some lighting. And if you come in here and you click off Scene World, you've got some options here. It's fun to play with this. And I'm just going to set up some things. This is one of my favorites. And then there's strength here. You can play with it. And you can also hit this rotation and it'll turn your lights. The rotation under the ball and the world. So there we go. There's a little bit of color, and that makes me happy. And it gets a little bit different here if you turn the scene world off, but we'll go over that more later. But we will be working here in this. Just stay here in the render viewport shading. And then I've just clicked this little camera, and that's basically where we'll be rendering from. the camera. We're looking through the camera at our 3D object, which is what we want to be doing. And if we want to, well, we'll go over that in a bit, but just so you know, we're looking through a camera. See, we just saw it. There it is. This is the camera, and we are looking through that when we click this. Ta-da! And then we click off of it, we're moving freely around. Okay, so there we have that. Now we have a little light in here, which is important to me. So let's go to edit mode and let's start modeling this. So from object mode, we're just going to hit the tab key and tab, where are you? There we go. And now we are in edit mode. And we're going to start editing this. And we have up here toggle X-rays on, which is cool. We need that on so that we can select polygons all the way through. But I'm going to click it off right now. And then also we want to be in, now we're all set up and laid out in layout, but we're going to be going over here to UV editing. And there we go. So now that we're in UV editing, we can see our little polygons over here. And this right here is the UV editor window. Right there on that side. And over here in the 3D viewport is where our object is. Now, the first thing I want to do in here is I want to click and get in front view. And I clicked I'm in the back actually. When you click the Y axis, and you see -Y, then you know you're in front view. And the other way you can do it is go view, viewport, and then you can go top, bottom, front, back, right, left, viewport, view, viewport, and then you can see this keyboard shortcuts, which is cool. You can just go to the numpad and hit 1, 3, 7, and move around. If you want to use your numpad, I like to use right here this controller, the X, Y, and Z little ball right here, and then click the Y. And then if you look to the left, it'll say front orthographic view. Okay, so what we're going to do right away is I want to show you how we can, I clicked off, is we're in the vertex mode, which is the little right next to edit. The vertex mode is the dots, so we can select the dots. And we're basically on the tweak tool, I guess. Are we? Or we are now. We were on select box. So you just click right here and you click select box, and if you hold your mouse down, this menu will drop open. And I'm going to be on the select box. I like both. Then you click and drag. So basically what we're doing right now is we're clicking and dragging to select the vertex, because we're in the vertex selector mode. And that's when we just select these little points, these little vertexes. And then you can select the move tool over here, this guy, the blue one, and then now we can move them like this. So that's the vertex tool. I'm going to edit and do that. And then the middle one is the edge tool. You can click and select an edge. and then you can move the edge around. Yay! And then I'm going to edit undo. So that's the way we're going to start by right away by, and then this square, the third one, 3 I say, because those are the short keyboard shortcuts. So there's 1, the vertex, 2 is edges, and 3 is faces. And polygons and faces are basically very common. We call it the same thing. So there we go, and then we're going to be going into the front mode. And one of the first things I want to do is show you how to use the symmetry tool so that we can model this. And if we hold our cursor over the window, over the viewport window, 3D viewport, and we hold the mouse, make sure that your mouse is on this window view, and you hit A on the keyboard. You hit A, where's my A? It will select everything. And Alt A on the keyboard will deselect. And you can also just come up here to the selection menu and click all and select all, or select none. And this is cool. So notice when we do select, we hit select all. Over here in the UV editor window, UV editor, we see all of our faces and vertex. We're seeing this ball laid out flat. It's really not actually, it's just a placement of where all of these spaces, all of these vertexes and faces will be on the material. So we can paint it. And it's kind of tricky if you haven't worked in 3D. It's kind of like, wow. And you'll see as we move along how it works. So, but first we're going to model this a little bit here. And so I want to go in the front view. And I'm going to click over here on the y-axis dot. Right there. And now we're in front orthographic. And you see up here right above our little turn guy, we have the symmetry box, X, Y, Z. Basically, here's the options for that. But we are going to click this X on, symmetry X. And then you'll see when we have the symmetry on and we move the hexagon, it's going to move our object. Basically left and right horizontally on the x-axis. And it's going to move from left to right, all depending on where that pointer is. What it's called is a, let's see, let's go back into object mode. And it is the origin. It's basically an origin is on in all of the objects right there. So in object mode, we can zoom out. And once we select the move tool, we see that right here, that little orange dot is the origin. And we can place that in different places, and that's going to affect us and be really important as we animate where that origin is at. The orange origin. So I'm going to edit undo and see if I get my symmetry back. Yeah, there we go. So we want to move that origin point so that we can get a really good position for modeling. So the way to do that is we're going to go, there's a couple different ways to do it, but the best way to do it and to learn it is go to object mode. Okay, get in the front view. And then you can kind of see. And I'm going to show you how to use the cursor, which is cool. Cool. It's just so awesome. The cursor is different than a lot of things. The cursor will help us. We can place the cursor somewhere. I've selected anywhere. And then we can tell our 3D object to be moved and placed to that cursor. And that's what we're going to do right now. But first we're going to move the cursor to the center of our 3D space. So I'm going to select the, first I'm going to come back and select the select box and get off of the cursor. And get on the select box. And I'm going to select the object and hide it for a second. And I'm going to hit H on the keyboard, or you can go select, and where is it? Select, view, hide, it's somewhere around here. But you can hit the H, hide, and it will hide. Now that's the center of our 3D space right there. I'm going to get back on the cursor and select there. It's where the X, Y, and Z axes cross. So that's the center of our 3D space. And what we can do to place the cursor there is, let's see, we can hit Control S. Holding your mouse over the viewport, over the 3D viewport area, you can hit Shift on the keyboard and S. And this brings open our cursor and selection menu. And if we say, well, even if the cursor is anywhere, doesn't matter where it is, we can get it placed. And then we go Shift S, and then we say cursor to, where are you? Cursor to world origin. Well, you can see. I'm going to hit that. So it places the cursor right there in the center of our 3D world. Woohoo! Okay, now let's unhide the object that we hid, the head, by hitting Alt H. And now we've got them back. And I'm not going to click anywhere and move my cursor. You'll do that a few times and you'll get used to it. Just remember, it's Shift S. And I'm going to get back up here on the select box now. And select my object, which is already selected, or just hit A. And then I'm going to come back over here to the move tool. And I'm going to move it out of the way. Just move it anywhere. I can move it all. You can just, it's in move, and I can grab the axes and move it either in the Z axis, the Y, or the Z. Or I can grab these guys and just kind of move it anywhere. Woo! And now I am going to hit the keys, Shift S, and then I'm going to tell the object, the head, to go to where the cursor to world origin. That's the last thing we did, the cursor. But now we want to tell the selection, because we selected the head and we want it to go to the cursor. So selection to cursor. So we click on that, and now see, it's moved the head right there to the world origin. Ooh, and that's what we want. So now that we've learned that, and you can write it down and practice it, pause the video. We are going to select the head and move it up. So I went to front view, front orthographic view by clicking the green little Y. And I'm going to click on the blue Z axis and drag it straight up. And I'm on the move tool. And so, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to push it all the way down here so it looks like it's touching close to the world, you know, the center of this world space. And what I need to do to move the origin from inside of its 3D, you know, inside this object. So I'll show you real quickly. If I click on the rotate tool, I can rotate on the different axes, the green, the Y, X is the red, and the blue is the Z axis. Or I can click on the white. You can see it's gonna rotate in the center because that's where the origin point is at. But I'm going to edit undo that, and I'm going to kind of move around so you can see. And then I'm going to click back on the little Y. So we're back in the front view, and we're straight on. And now I'm going to go to the move tool. And then I am going to move this origin. So to do that, we have to go up to this menu up here at the top. And let's see, the top menu options. Yeah. So you can, while we're in object mode, you can do this. I don't know if we can do it in edit mode, but maybe. So then we scroll down to the right about underneath of the three little viewport shaders, the viewport shading balls, and we go to options, and then we say transform. So we are going to transform. We're going to move the thing, and we only want to affect the origins. So we're going to click on the origin, and that brought up our X, Y, and Z little note thingy, little message. So I got to click back on it, and now I can move it. I'm going to move it with the blue arrow, which is the Z, and you can see I'm moving it down here. And I believe that, so I can drag it and move it with that transform origin selected. And I think, I'm not sure, but let's see. If I go Shift S, I can still say selection to cursor. Because our cursor is still right there in the world origin space. So I'll hit selection to cursor. And I don't think it worked. Yeah, no, it doesn't. Or maybe let's try it again. Nope. So I have to do it by hand. This is just something. So maybe selection to active, cursor to active, cursor to world area. So it's not moving. And I'm frozen in here now. So let me see, I'll pause this for a second and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back and I just hit the escape key because I was frozen. I don't know what it was. So I can't place the origin that way, but I'm just going to drag it down right there. And then I'm going to come back up here and the options and click this off. So now when I select the ball, the head that we're making, I can move it, but the origin is here. And if I get on the rotate tool and I select the rotate tool and then I move it. Now you can see the object is rotating from the origin, and that's what's going to matter a lot when we're animating, right? Because we know that a head turns right here from the neck, not from the nose, through the middle of the face. So, yay, we got it moved. And that's cool and awesome. So, I'm going to edit and undo that to get my head back centered. Select that. So, yay. Now, what we're going to see also is we're going to go back to edit mode, and the symmetry object is going to be affected from left to right, or from the right. And it works with that origin in its place. So yay. So we're going to start modeling this out. And I'm going to show you one more really cool thing. Edit and undo that. Okay. So now we're kind of set up to start modeling. And we want to turn something on to make it smooth in it for us. So we're going to come up here to what's called the proportional editing tool. Right here, it's at this top menu. And it says, right here, it is a little hill. Looks like a little bump. And then the little dot, when you click it, looks like a target. So we want to turn that on, and then if we click this little tiny white drop down, you can see we're in smooth. The smooth proportional, which we're going to leave it there for now. And then our proportional size is 1. And now what you're going to see is it's going to give us some nice stretch. Yay! Woohoo! And that's going to make it so much easier to do. So it almost looks like a heart. And then undo. So now with the proportional editing on, we can keep coming up here and we can change the size. So we can go to 2 or lower. And let's say 2. Okay, 2. And then you'll see that it affects it a lot more. So I just want to show you that, and then we're just going to edit a little bit. Then we're going to lay these polygons out, and we're going to start painting. These polygon faces Blender. And I'm just going to leave the editing there, the proportional. You might need to turn it back on and off. If you start jumping ahead and going wild in here and playing with that and modeling like crazy, you can remember just turn it back off. And you're still going to be in the symmetry mode like this. And you'll go back and forth from the symmetry. And you might even need to turn off the symmetry so that you can edit something, without without the symmetry on, without moving both sides of the object on the x-axis. So go back to front mode, and I'll edit and undo that. And then I'll see you in the next lesson, and we're going to go right into editing the head and laying out the polygons and adding the material. So I'll see you back there. Please subscribe. Yay! Woo. And also, it looks like you might want to remember, and I forgot, to deselect or edit and select all. You can click Alt-A. Or is it Alt-A? Yeah, Alt-A. But I can't see because it's dark in here. Alt. Oh well. Edit and undo. Well, I don't know what's happening. But yeah, that's what I love about animating. It's so fun. Because my keyboard decides start working. Okay, there we go. It's dark in here now. I can't see. I need a new keyboard. Okay, now one of the most important things that I'm forgetting to tell you is you better save your file, save as, and I'm just gonna call it head class, I guess, because I've got one there. Or head build head. Oh, I gotta see it's red, and so it's gonna copy right over the top. Or I can just actually, without naming it, hit the plus, and it will automatically add a 1. But I want to name it because I'm doing the class. So head building. How about that? Building. Okay, now we can save it. And then what's also really important is if you don't have your object selected, you could just go select all, hit A. Then you don't see your polygon or your UV faces. So hit A and select all. And now you can see them, but we want it to stay on so we can pay attention to what we're doing. So what we do is we come over here to the UV editor window, and we come up to the top and see these two little arrows, kind of kitty corner facing. We click that on, and now what that does is it syncs the selection. Keep UV in edit mode. If you hold your cursor over your little icons, you're going to get a little message and a little bit of direction, which is really cool. So keep UV in edit mode, mesh selection, and sync. So what we do over here will affect over here. That's what we want. So try to remember to turn that on, because I remember starting out and just being like, where are my UVs? So keep a note of that, write it down. UV sync selection, because you won't see it much if you don't have something selected, and it's constantly turning on. And I think by memorizing and remembering things, you need to have that on. Okay, so we'll start modeling the head in the next lesson. So I'll see you there.